September 23rd, 2025, a date that will be remembered across Asia. On this day, Super Typhoon Ragasa roared into Fujian province, China, tearing across the coastline with winds topping 115 miles per hour and dumping over 11 inches of rain in less than 12 hours. What began as a swirl of clouds over the South China Sea transformed into a monster storm, its power fueled by unusually warm waters and unstable air. By nightfall, entire neighborhoods where underwater power grids had collapsed, and families were clinging to rooftops praying the waters would stop rising. For the people of Fujian, Ragasa wasn't just another typhoon, it was a nightmare come to life. And for the rest of the world, it's another warning of how violent our storms are becoming. Tonight, we take you inside the storm's fury and what it means for all of us. Typhoon Ragasa made landfall just after dawn on September 22, 2025, and within minutes, life along China's southeast coast was unrecognizable. The storm slammed into Fujian province with sustained winds near 115 miles per hour, gusting even higher, tearing roofs from homes and twisting power lines into sparking wreckage. In just 12 hours, Ragasa dumped more than 11 inches of rain, overwhelming drainage systems and flooding entire districts. In Guangzhou, waist-deep water swallowed cars and buses, forcing families to smash windows and climb onto rooftops for safety. In Xiamen, high-rise towers rattled under hurricane-force winds, while shipping containers toppled like toy blocks across ports and industrial yards. By midday, more than 200,000 homes and businesses were without electricity, plunging cities into darkness even before sunset. Streets became raging rivers, highways were cut off by mudslides, and airports canceled all flights. Public transit collapsed. Metro tunnels in Fuzhou filled with floodwater, while rural roads were buried under landslides. Videos online showed entire neighborhoods consumed by brown torrents. Furniture and vehicles swept away in minutes. By nightfall, Ragasa's destructive reach stretched far beyond Fujian. Neighboring provinces were on high alert, bracing for a storm that refused to weaken. As Typhoon Ragasa battered Fujian, China's emergency response was tested to the limit. More than 15,000 first responders, firefighters, soldiers, police, and medical crews were deployed within hours. Rescue boats navigated through streets that had become rivers, pulling stranded families through second-story windows. Helicopters hovered over submerged neighborhoods, lowering baskets to parents clutching children above the floodwaters. The 112 emergency hotline was overwhelmed, receiving more than 30,000 calls in less than a day. Dispatchers pleaded with residents to stay calm. Do not attempt to cross the water. Help is coming. Behind the statistics were human faces and harrowing stories. In Guangzhou, neighbors formed a human chain in chest-high water to save an elderly couple trapped inside a collapsing house. In Xiamen, dozens of residents sheltered inside a shopping mall as glass doors shattered and floodwater surged inside. Volunteers rushed in afterward, handing out bottled water blankets and dry clothes to terrified families. Despite the chaos, acts of courage defined the night. A young police officer in Fuzhou gave his life while rescuing 3 children swept away by raging currents. His sacrifice was mourned nationwide, a symbol of resilience in the face of disaster. For many survivors, it wasn't just a storm, it was a fight for survival. Meteorologists say Typhoon Ragasa was not just another storm, it was the product of a perfect storm setup. Over the South China Sea, water temperatures reached 86 degree, several degrees above normal for late September. That warmth acted like jet fuel, pumping massive amounts of moisture into the atmosphere. At the same time, a cold trough of air pushed down from northern China. When that frigid air clashed with the hot, moisture-heavy system rising from the tropics, the result was explosive instability. Overhead, powerful jet stream winds provided vertical wind shear, allowing the storm to grow taller, wider, and more organized. The science is clear: warm oceans feed stronger storms, and the Pacific Basin where Ragasa was born has been heating faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. Studies show typhoons that once appeared once a decade are now forming more frequently and with greater intensity. For scientists, Ragasa is a warning. It shows how a warming climate can take a storm that might have been destructive and turn it into something catastrophic. For survivors, though this isn't theory, it's reality. A storm they'll never forget, fueled by forces bigger than any one city or country. When Typhoon Ragasa tore through Luzon, the numbers told only part of the story. At least 73 people lost their lives, many swept away by flash floods or trapped inside collapsing homes. Among the victims were children, the elderly and entire families who had only minutes to react when the riverbanks burst. In one town near Quezon, residents formed a human chain in waist-deep water to rescue an elderly couple stranded on their rooftop. In Manila, parents clutched their children as floodwaters rushed through subway tunnels, forcing emergency evacuations in total darkness. For hours, 911 lines were overwhelmed with desperate callers begging for boats, food, or news of missing relatives. Yet in the middle of tragedy, resilience emerged. Churches opened their doors as makeshift shelters. Volunteers cooked hot meals on propane stoves. Local radio stations broadcast evacuation routes when cell towers went down. Even children pitched in carrying bottled water and blankets to elderly neighbors. One survivor summed it up: the storm took our homes, but it didn't take our spirit. For millions across the Philippines, Ragasa was not just a natural disaster. It was a reminder that community is the strongest defense when the skies unleash their fury. The scale of destruction left by Typhoon Ragasa is staggering. Early assessments estimate economic losses exceeding $2.1 billion across the Philippines. Entire neighborhoods were flattened, and more than 120,000 homes were either damaged or destroyed. Roads and highways crumbled under landslides. At least 300 bridges and culverts require structural inspection before they can safely reopen. Power outages affected over 2 million households, leaving families in the dark for days. In Manila, the city's subway system sustained heavy flooding, forcing indefinite closures of multiple lines. Airports faced mass flight cancellations, while the country's largest shipping port reported extensive delays as cranes and warehouses were damaged by hurricane-force winds. For small businesses, the storm was devastating. Street vendors lost their stalls, fishermen lost their boats, and farmers in central Luzon saw tens of thousands of acres of rice and cornfields drowned under floodwaters. One farmer told reporters, "The harvest we waited for all year is gone in a single night. Despite the losses, recovery has begun." The Philippine government has requested international aid, while U.S. agencies, NGOs, and neighboring countries are mobilizing assistance. Volunteers continue to clear debris, repair homes, and restore power, but experts warn full recovery could take months, if not years. Meteorologists say Typhoon Ragasa was not just another storm. It was the perfect collision of forces. Warm, moisture-heavy air from the Pacific clashed with a powerful low-pressure system, fueling towering storm clouds that stretched miles into the atmosphere. Ragasa's winds exceeded 120 miles per hour, strong enough to uproot concrete power poles, while its rain bands dumped up to 20 inches of water in less than 24 hours in parts of Luzon. What stunned scientists most was the storm's unusual persistence. Instead of weakening over land, Ragasa re-energized as it tapped into lingering ocean heat, a clear sign of how warmer seas are supercharging storms. Satellite data confirmed that sea surface temperatures in the Philippine Sea were 2 at 3 degrees above normal, providing a vast energy reservoir. Climatologists warn this may be the new normal. A warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, which means heavier downpours. Rising ocean temperatures create stronger cyclones that last longer, travel farther inland, and deliver record-breaking rainfall. In short, storms like Ragasa are becoming more destructive, more frequent, and less predictable. For millions living along coastlines from Manila to Miami, this is the warning. Extreme weather is no longer rare. It's accelerating, and every degree of warming stacks the odds against us. The devastation left by Typhoon Ragasa is a stark reminder. Extreme storms are not just natural events. They are stress tests for society. Governments, cities, and everyday families must adapt faster than ever before. For policymakers, the lesson is clear. Infrastructure built for the past cannot handle the storms of today. Flood defenses, storm drains, power grids, and transportation networks all need urgent upgrades. Countries across the Pacific Rim, and here at home in the United States, must rethink zoning laws, strengthen building codes, and design coastal defenses capable of withstanding Category 5 level impacts. But survival doesn't depend on governments alone. Families must prepare too. Experts urge households to keep emergency kits stocked, know evacuation routes, and never underestimate weather warnings. A storm's path may shift, but its danger is always real. In Ragasa's case, many who survived did so because they acted early, evacuating before roads turned into rivers. Community resilience also matters. Churches, schools, and neighborhood groups that opened shelters or organized supply drives became lifelines during the darkest hours. The future will demand not just stronger walls, but stronger connections, because the storms are coming. The only question is whether we'll be ready when they do. As of today, September 22nd, 2025, the scars of Typhoon Ragasa remain raw. Streets are still lined with debris, families are still counting their losses, and entire neighborhoods are struggling to rebuild. But the storm's message is louder than the winds that tore through the Philippines. Nature is accelerating, and none of us are beyond its reach. Disasters like Ragasa remind us that homes can be rebuilt, but lives cannot be replaced. Preparedness is not optional, it's survival. So let me ask you, what would you do if a storm of this scale hit your city tomorrow? Do you know where you'd go, what you'd grab, how you'd protect your family? If this report opened your eyes, don't let it end here. Hit the like button, share this video with friends, and subscribe, so you'll never miss our next deep dive into the world's most extreme weather. Together, awareness saves lives.